General Zod has always been portrayed as a genuinely evil character who has no remorse for his atrocities. Superman's ultimate adversary has been around for a long time, and the people of Earth are widely familiar with him. However, have you ever thought about why this is the case and why General Zod hates Superman so much? Additionally, why did he travel from Krypton to Earth to just defeat Superman? The true answer lies in his backstory and the rough childhood Drew Zod had to endure. Yes, his real name is Drew Zod, and he hails from the famous Zod family. I bet you didn't know that. Similarly, many aspects about General Zod's life have knowingly or unknowingly contributed to his personality. In today's video, we will discuss these aspects and the rise of the feared and deadly General Zod. But before diving into his childhood, let's first find out who General Zod is and why he is Superman's biggest threat. Firstly, General Zod and Superman come from the same planet as Krypton. Interestingly, they share most of their powers and are equal in strength. However, Zod gets the upper hand due to his experience and strategic brilliance, which he acquired after many years of torment. Superman has fought many strong villains like Darkseid and Lex Luthor, but Zod always comes out on the top. The reason is their shared origin and the inclusion of Jor-El. Jor-El is another strong Kryptonian who is also Superman's biological father. Interestingly, Jor-El and Drew Zod have been enemies since they were teenagers. Maybe the hostility spilled over to Superman when he crossed paths with General Zod. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. The making of Zod. How childhood shapes Superman's fiercest foe. General Zod has always been showcased as a strong character in the comics, but his backstory was neglected for too long. But worry not, today we are going to explore issue number 5 of the Kneel Before Zod comics that answers all the important questions about his meteoric rise to power. There's always a certain mystery behind General Zod's backstory, and he has always been this fierce military commander in all the live-action movies and comics. Written by the talented Joe Casey, the Kneel Before Zod series is entirely focused around Drew Zod and how he was ousted by his father so that he may become a stronger and worthy son. Initially, General Zod hails from a famous military family from Krypton. His father was a high-ranking military commander who always demanded the best from his people and went to more significant limits to impose his will. He did the same with his son and cast him out of Krypton so that he may find his true strength. It sounds a bit harsh, but that has been the custom in the Zod family, and his father wasn't big on change. So, a young Drew Zod was thrown into the fiery pits of hell. The teenager had seen nothing like this growing up in massive kingdoms with big feasts. However, this is where Drew Zod became the infamous General Zod. Resentment and anger started to grow when the young child was cast out by his father. In sheer anger, Drew Zod carved out his family symbol on his chest with a flaming hot iron cast. Pretty painful for a youngster. But Drew Zod didn't care about this as he had greater ambitions. Several years passed as Drew suffered in exile in the pits of hell until he met a familiar face who would become his biggest adversary in a few years. While Drew was shackled in chains, a teacher showed up with a few students for a field trip in the depths of hell. This place was not hell, but the underbelly of Krypton, famously called the Kryptonian Firefalls. There, the teacher was visibly shocked after seeing a young child. Fearing it's a monster, he quickly asked all his students to leave from there without making a sound. However, a certain someone approached Drew Zod and made conversation. This was none other than Jor-El, the father of Superman. Jor-El immediately recognized Drew Zod as the son of a military commander. After being called the son of an army commander, Drew Zod was furious and called out Jor-El for talking about his father. But it seems like wisdom ran in the Superman genes as Jor-El asked him to use this fury and rage as motivation and achieve many things in the future. However, Jor-El didn't stop there. He called Drew Zod's life a tragedy and started tormenting him due to his evil fate. Vowing revenge, Drew Zod got extraordinarily furious and proclaimed that Jor-El would meet him again. Following this sequence, we meet a much older Drew Zod who has been captured by an intergalactic agency. His appearance has completely changed, and General Zod looks exceptionally terrifying. He returns to consciousness and makes quick work for the entire prison force with relative ease. He later releases all the prisoners, but doesn't allow them free will. Instead, he uses their shock collar and proclaims himself their true master. This gave rise to the Legion of Zod and started General Zod's timeline as a true DC supervillain. General Zod later went on to commit many atrocities and crimes, but that's for another video.
No! No!
Trauma's influence on General Zod's character. Coming back to his childhood, it is widely believed that General Zod is who he is because of his brutal childhood. He was thrown into the pits by his father and came out of hell as an actual demon. He lost all sympathy and had no remorse for his enemies. Additionally, this was where he learned to use anyone and everyone for his personal gains. However, during his exile, his hate for Jor-El grew to immaculate levels, and he hallucinated about him from time to time. This is also the reason why General Zod crossed paths with Superman, which is due to his hostility with Jor-El. After reading the Kneel Before Zod comic series, it is safe to assume that mostly all the atrocities committed by Drew Zod can be linked to his brutal childhood. His father destroyed the young boy when he cast him out. Later, the same boy managed a coup against the Kryptonian government and was their ruler quite a few times. His lust for power, relentless nature, and brutal childhood make him a fierce adversary. We can also assume that his exile led to the ultimate downfall of Krypton and the need for Jor-El to ultimately cast out Superman to Earth. There is great irony about this situation. Drew Zod's father cast him out in the pits of hell and he became an actual supervillain. Jor-El sent his son to the peace-loving planet of Earth and he became one of the most prominent superheroes of all time, widely known as Superman. Conclusion. Childhood plays an integral part in a character's development, as seen in every famous superhero and supervillain. Let's take Batman for example. He saw his parents get murdered before him and vowed that wouldn't happen to anyone else, making him the iconic Dark Knight, traversing the streets of Gotham for vengeance. The story of General Zod works in the opposite direction. His father cast him out after being deemed unworthy. To ultimately prove himself, he became a true monster and the biggest enemy to the nation of Krypton. However, everyone would think that General Zod wouldn't do the same to his son, but guess what? He did just that. In Kneel Before Zod issue number 1, we see General Zod casting out his son Lor-Zod in space to make him stronger. General Zod committed the same mistake that made him who he is. Maybe we will see a more devastating and feared version of General Zod after his son returns from exile in outer space. In conclusion, General Zod is a true supervillain who is erratic yet calculated. To learn more about General Zod or other DC supervillains, check out our marvelous video catalog. If you like this deep dive into General Zod's childhood, give us a like so we can produce similar videos. Until then, stay marvelous. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.